And ladies and gentlemen, I think we'll start our meeting right now. Todd's not feeling well today, so you're stuck with me. So I'd like to wish you all good morning and open with the land acknowledgement.
Kettle Creek Conservation Authority wishes to acknowledge the treaty and traditional lands originally occupied by the Indigenous First Nations peoples of the Anishinaabe, Arawandra, and Haudenosaunee nations. KCCA strives to build meaningful relationships with Indigenous communities and recognizes the importance of respecting these treaties and lands.
Okay, thank you. Any disclosures of pecuniary interest from the members of the committee? No, I see none. The next item, do we have delegations this meeting?
No, we don't.
No, I don't. Minutes of the meeting of September 17th, 2025, full authority. Mover and a seconder that the minutes of September 17th, 2025, full authority meetings be approved. And who, Jim, and seconded by Frank. We'll do the roll call.
We do have to do a roll call. Lori Baldwin Sands.
Yes.
Frank Burrs.
Yes.
Jim Herbert.
Yes.
Jerry McMillan.
Yes.
Jerry Cribble is absent. JJ Strybosh.
Yes.
Sam Trousseau is absent. John Wilson.
Yes.
And that motion passes.
In the car. Could be in a while.
The recommendation that the minutes of the October 8th, 2025 full authority meeting be approved. In adopting the minutes of the October 8th executive committee meeting of the authority is adopting recommendations and is voicing actions therein. A mover and a seconder for that motion.
I wasn't there, so I can't move. Okay, here, I'll move it.
Frank and I guess I can't.
I'll second it.
John.
Oh, John did. Okay,
Good.
thank you.
You're the guy in the truck. Okay.
Baldwin Sands.
Yes.
Burrs.
Yes.
Herbert.
Yes.
Strybosh.
Yes.
Wilson.
Yes.
And McMillan.
Yes.
And that motion passes.
Okay, under matters arising, Betsy for the media report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Some social media highlights from the last month. The first was recognizing the ambassadors of the year. These are seasonal staff members from the campgrounds that are recognized for their exceptional customer service. Next is the post that we did about our TD Tree Days event. That was done at Orchard Park in St. Thomas. We had over 50 volunteers come out to plant 250 trees and shrubs. Next is some media. One feature was the Drum Fest event at Dan Patterson. And the next featured a media release about our low water conditions. We were awarded funding, 2 grants for $3,500 each from the Invasive Species Action Fund. So that'll help us tackle woody invasive species at both Kirk Cousins and the Stanley Lyle Grove. And lastly, the Carolinian Forest Festival was held last week. We had over 2,000 students attend the event over 4 days. And so just a feature on St. Thomas today.
Thank you.
A couple of questions for you, Betsy. Could you give me a little background on the Carolinian Forest Festival? Just what is that?
Yeah, through the chair to you. So that's an event that we have coordinated since 2008. And it's a festival that engages grades 6 and 7 students. So 2,000 students over 4 days, and they participate in activities that teach them about biodiversity, species at risk, and our local forest ecosystems. So it's an event done in partnership with a lot of partners. Notably the Thames Valley and London District Catholic School Boards.
Thank you. Second question. You redesigned the hiking trail. What really took place there? Are you the city's putting hiking trails everywhere. Are we connecting anywhere with your trails when you said you redesigned it, or you just through your forest area?
Sorry, what was that in reference?
Redesign the KCC hiking trail.
Oh, just tracking.
hiking guide, was that just a booklet you did, or you did
I'm
something?
sorry. Yes, the hiking trail guide is something that's provided to the public for all of our trails. So we're just in the midst of updating that to be current with all of our current hiking trails.
Good, thank you.
Lori.
My question too is on the Carolina Forest Festival. You had 2,000 students participating. What was the demand? How many did you have to turn away? What was the request
Yeah.
like in advance? When did it fill up?
Yes, thank you, through the chair to Lori. So registration goes out for that event in June, through the school boards. And typically we can only take about 2,000 students, and usually we have about 8,000 students wanting to attend the festival. So super high demand.
Okay, project tracking.
So some of these have already been highlighted in the media report. The Forest Festival, as Betsy mentioned, was a huge success again. We also hosted some CAs from across the province in Port Stanley in early October for the Central Lake Erie Coastal Tour. So a lot of my ACES colleagues throughout the province toured the coastline, looking at some of the unique hazards that we have to deal with in this area. So that was a great chance to connect with some other CAs and highlight areas in our neck of the woods. We completed the fall inspections for the Diablo Dam and the other 2 dams on our properties. Jen's been busy collecting fish data for the municipal drain classification as part of our ongoing efforts for electrofishing and classifying the fish species in our local drains. Phragmites treatments is ongoing, and the campground's closed for the season September 30th, with all the buildings now boarded up and the pools closed for the season. And then we planted 1,350 seedlings on the MTO planting site and season.
Frank.
Question. Maybe somebody can address, how do we treat Phragmites? Is it cut back and spray, or are you doctor, or?
Not really my area, but maybe.
Betsy goes out there, okay.
So yeah, typically it's cut, you let it regrow a little bit, and then it's treated with a herbicide. And it's needed to be treated multiple years in a row to really address the
Does it actually kill it all? Like, this stuff's everywhere beside roads.
yeah,
Okay,
but you need to do it year after year to really get control of it.
okay.
So what's the length of that? Would it be 3 years or more, or it just depends on the
I think it
event?
depends. You just gotta continuously monitor and sort of mop up those areas that maybe didn't get treated.
Right, okay. Jim?
So if it's on the same subject, do you need to get permission to spray private property?
Well, yes, not permission per se, but in order to treat it with herbicide, you have to be a licensed personnel, right? So it depends on the site and the conditions, but you have to have appropriate herbicide training to do it.
Anything else? Lori?
I have 2 questions. The first one is about the planting of the MTO planting site. Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes, through the chair to Lori. So as part of the Highway 3 widening project, there was some tree removal. So MTO identified a site in their ownership, basically, that would compensate the removal of those trees. So that'll be a multi-year project that we're assisting them with. So a large number of trees were planted this spring, and this was just a continuation of that work.
Second question, and I'll tie the 2 together. With the Phragmites control that you have been doing, what ways are you communicating out to the public that we are doing that Phragmites controlling? And I'll say why in a moment.
Typically, each year we will do some social media posts about the services that we offer or grants that we've received to do invasive species control. And then oftentimes, what happens is as we're out on the landscape for tree planting or stewardship projects, we're talking with landowners, and if they have Phragmites on their property, for example, then we'll talk about the possibility of KCCA assisting them in undertaking, that work as a fee for service.
So as a follow-up, thank you very much for that. When I was at AMO, one of the things that I heard from other members of the extended Elgin County community is that we in the community of St. Thomas, ACCA are not doing enough or anything at all for Phragmites. And I said, well, that is incorrect. And the extensive work that you were doing, and praised you to say that this has been being done for a number of years now. And I'm very proud of the work that you are doing for Phragmites control. So that was number one. And number two, the other, when I was visiting the site, the mega site, I was with a group of people who had no idea the amount of work that KCCA is doing in order to not just plant the trees from the MTO road widening, but for the site itself. So just to put it out there that we have been doing a tremendous job, and it's not getting out enough to the public and to our fellow councillors across the county. So I just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention, that we applaud all of the work that you are doing. I think we need to do a better job of communicating out. Start patting yourselves on the back a little bit. Well, actually, you patting yourselves on the back a little bit more.
That's good, thank you. Anyone else? No? Okay. Then we'll turn to Jennifer for watershed condition.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Lake Erie is continuing its seasonal decline. It actually has been trending right around the long-term average, which is quite a long, like from 1918 to 1924. So it's a pretty long data set that they're comparing it to. And it's 80 centimeters lower than the 2019 record high, if we remember what that was like in 2019. So it's decently low. It is a trend though, and it's cyclical, and it will be probably changing over the next little while. In September, we usually get about 76 millimeters of rain on average. So we're about half of that right now. Which equates to about 34 millimeters or 37 millimeters for the month. The outlook for Environment Canada for September to November is saying near normal precipitation and temperature moving forward. So we should see a bit of a change in how things are going. However, it doesn't change the fact that Southern Ontario is experiencing a lot of low water condition. There are 13 conservation authorities right now in a level 1, which Kettle Creek is in a level 1. 5 are in level 2, and 6 are in confirmed level 3, and those are mostly in the eastern region. Staff did fall dam inspections for all the dams in the watershed that we maintain and operate. The one main thing that we had to deal with at Dalewood is that there's 3 signs missing. For some reason, people love to take our signs. They're just really pretty, I guess. So anyway, we'll be replacing those. They're on order, and they'll be up as soon as we get them.
Okay.
Question? So is this cyclical? What's the reason? Is this dryness or the water being so low? Like, I remember years back, it was extremely high. Erosion was a problem. And now all of a sudden we're reversing it. Any comment?
So, Madam Chair, to Frank, it is a long-term cycle. If you look on some of the documents that I've shared in the past, you can actually see like a long seasonal, like up and down. And if you look at the long data, like that 1918 to 1924 range as well, like it does the same sort of thing. Now, water levels can be affected by, the amount of rain that we're getting, the amount of evaporation. We had really hot days this year.
Yeah.
The amount of snow that we had, the amount of ice cover that we had, all those things contribute to, the water levels in the Great Lakes. And Lake Erie is also the smallest volume and size, so it does react quicker to those dry periods.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Jim.
Chair, you always talk about, and one of the comments here is, water levels and flows are still lower than normal. What is normal? What is it should be over like a 10-year period? I know it's up and down, but what you mean normal? What is the level?
Madam Chair, to Jim, they have another huge data set that they refer back to, and they call it the 20-year climate normals. So whatever that water level is that it was, it's hard to explain. They have like a level, they do have a level,
Yeah.
and then if it's higher than that, then they say it's higher than normal, and if it's lower than
And I never know what that is.
It-
Never know what.
it does kind of,
Fluctuate?
it fluctuates,
Yeah.
yeah. So they do have like a 70%, a 50% and a 30%. That's how they measure whether or not it's level 1, level 2, or level 3.
Okay.
And then if it's above 70% of normal, then you're out of a low water level. But if it's lower than the 70% of normal, then you're in a level 1, which is what we're in right now.
Okay, thank you.
I don't think there's anyone else with questions, so a mover and a seconder that the staff reports on matters arising A through C be received. Lori and the seconder. Frank, and call the roll.
Baldwin Sands.
Yes.
Burrs,
Yes.
Herbert,
Yes.
Cribble,
Yes.
Strybosh,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
McMillan.
Yes.
That motion passes.
Okay, moving on to correspondence, the Ontario implementing the hiring freeze for provincial agencies as of September 26, 2025. And unless there are any questions, just that the recommendation is that the correspondence be received. Any questions?
That's with you. When they talk hiring freeze, are they talking full-time only or everybody? Part-time, full-time, everybody? Is there any clarification on it?
Chair to Jim, no, there's been no clarification or communication since the news release went out, so I don't have any more information
Okay.
than what's in the news release right now.
Because it's a big deal for you in the summer, cut back part-time people.
There's a number of questions around it, and hopefully they'll provide some clarification.
Okay,
I did have his hand up, but I don't see him.
Oh, okay. John, were you moving that?
Yes.
Yes, I'm taking that as a yes. And the seconder? JJ. Okay, call the roll.
Baldwin Sands.
Yes.
Burrs.
Yes.
Herbert.
yes.
Cribble.
Yes.
Strybosh.
Yes.
Wilson.
Yes.
McMillan.
Yes.
And that motion passes.
Okay. Statement of revenue and expenses, September 30th, 2025. I'll turn that over to Elizabeth.
Sure, it was circulated out in the advanced packages. I draw everyone's attention specifically. It's nice at this time of year. It's the September 30th statement, so you can see the full season of the campgrounds. Both campgrounds exceeding basically our budgeted predictions. So Lake Whitaker had a very good season, and we'll get more into that with some stats on the cabins and some of the lakeshore improvements that we did in the next report. But I'm pleased with where we're at. A good season from the campgrounds, and certainly open to any questions from the members.
Okay, any questions from the members?
That's my agenda.
Okay, I'm seeing none, so,
Jerry. Hello?
sorry,
Awesome.
Jerry, sorry, can't see you there. Go
Awesome.
ahead.
To the chair, to the staff, first of all, congratulations. I think the revenues are looking really good and great teamwork. I wanted to ask you, the other revenues and grants, any comment in that budget was 407, actually year to date 282. Are we gonna, can you comment on that, please?
Yeah, I'm not, Chair to Jerry, I'm not concerned with that at this point. There are some revenues and grants out there that just haven't been realized yet on that September 30th statement, but I have no concerns with that at this time.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that. And when I look at the expenditures, all of them are, of course, below year to date. Any potential concerns on that end that we might go over any?
Chair Jerry, no, we're right on target with where I would expect to be, so no concerns.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, and congratulations to the team. Thank you.
All right, any other questions on the statement?
John's raising his hand.
Okay. Go ahead, John.
Through you, Chair. Glad to see that the cabins at Lake Whitaker were such a success. It's just some well, I guess just a few things that I heard, but it's generating a lot more through that than what that section of the campground normally does. So that's fantastic.
Thanks, John. Anyone else? All right, so a mover and seconder that the statements of revenue and expenses dated September the 30th, 2025 be approved. Lori is moving that and JJ is seconding.
Yep.
All in fit,
Sorry, Baldwin says
Yes.
first. First,
Yeah, sorry.
Herbert.
Vocal.
Yeah, he's laughing.
Bill. Fribble,
Jerry,
Yes.
There we go.
Strybosh,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
and McMillan.
yes.
And that motion passes.
Okay. New business, Lake Shore Camping Area Improvements Update. Michael, there you are. Sorry. Go ahead.
Your turn.
Thank you, Madam Chair, to the members. Yeah, just gonna go over the project at Lake Whitaker, a little bit of the background, some of the objectives we are aiming for. Starting off just the desire of the funder to develop a project that maximizes the gift for the park benefit, which I feel that we've done. Addressing some of the drainage concerns through that section by still utilizing some of the existing topography and also coming up with some engineered solutions that we have taken part in now and have completed. Also want to look at the new layout with the larger campsites that are more desirable campsites to make draw some more interest down there, and also make those campsites also fairly consistent with the size of the other campgrounds, which I'll get into a little bit more detail with some of the success on that here shortly. And also just updating the electrical services where we can, improving the vehicular access into that section through rather than the one section of the road. But also trying to do it in such a way that we're damaging the least amount of trees as possible, which I think we're successful in that as well. There was fairly little trees that need to be removed, with some pruning in order to make the project come together as well. And then by introducing modern camping transit glamping and with those roof accommodations. And then while still restricting that section to just as a transient or short-term rentals for that area down there. Okay. So this is the layout that we ended up with that we went through the 2025 season with as far as the layout of the campsite. So you can see the sites are quite large. We have relocated that one section of the road to make the vehicle access and also potential for future considerations for trailers down there. But I think that by adding in that drainage kind of through the middle, we've addressed that objective there, as well as the newer larger sites. And to get into some of the statistics on that here shortly. And the vehicle access as well as also the reduced destruction of trees, which was great as well. So this is just some of the pictures of the cabins here, kind of again what they look like. We've seen the pictures before. Now we have some nice kind of summer and springtime pictures here as well. So again, the beautiful log furniture that was placed inside of them. You can see in the first picture, we got all of the electrical put in with the lights and the mini fridge as well inside of each of them, and with the nice Adirondack style chairs in the front. Another really nice addition was the fire pits that were included in front of each of them as well, where the majority of the campgrounds, it's just a standard truck fire pit that the campsite, the fire pits are taking the nice one to have a grill on them as well that you can flip over, similar to what we see in the provincial parks. So that was a really nice addition to have as well. And again, they look fantastic, and just from being out there all summer long to the amount of comments that we received from anybody who's out there, whether they're using the cabins or not, or just how nice they were, and then there was a really nice addition that people saw there. So it was nice to get all that positive feedback through the summer as well. Right, and then Jesse and Betsy helped put together a bit of a feedback form that we had. So at the beginning of each day, we left a paper copy of a feedback form for the campers to fill out if they choose to do that, as well as the QR code if they wanted to do that online. So this is just some of the feedback we asked for. So we asked them to kind of rate their experience in a few different areas. And as you can see, those were very high with kind of a 4.5 to 4.9 out of 5 for all the areas we were asking about, which was fantastic. We were also asking for some comments and constructive criticism or suggestions, which we'll get into some more detail of some of those suggestions here moving forward. And then just also asked how people heard about it, with quite a variety of how people heard about it between word of mouth, social media, or just from our website. Another interesting thing is just talking to the people who were there, as well as staff who were checking them in. Well, we had a lot of people who are regular campers at Lake Whitaker using the cabins as well. It was interesting to see that there was a lot of kind of new people that was their first time out was because of the cabins. So drawing those new folks in, not just the people that are already using it. So that was kind of an interesting thing to be able to see as well. Another part of the feedback is just whether they would recommend it to anybody else or whether they would come back. And as you can see, really high numbers of 97 and 100% as far as the feedback received from the people who filled out those forms. So very positive feedback. So that's fantastic. We also asked them to fill out some quotes of if they had a good time, what they had to say about it. Read a couple of them. So one was perfect location for the cabins. Cabins are clean with lots of room. Would stay again, definitely beat sleeping in a tent. And another that the cabins at Lake Whitaker allowed for a perfect mother-daughter getaway, complete with a beautiful view and easy access to the water and a roof overhead. Looking forward to booking again next year. So that's just kind of a snapshot of some of those comments that we received from the campers throughout the season as well. All right, so this is an exciting slide here. So it kind of gets into some of our revenue generated. So first off, a snapshot of the reservation, a total of 112 reservations altogether, with a total of 245 nights booked altogether as well, and in the range of 295 visitors using the cabins throughout the whole summer. And the revenue of $36,722 generated just through the cabins this summer, which is fantastic. And the numbers to the right, so the total revenue in Lakeshore as a whole was $92,176. So that was great. So that was including the cabins. If you take the revenue from the cabins away, that was the Lakeshore campsite or campsites themselves made $55,454. And then the number 37,719, that's kind of the average annual revenue that we would generally see down in Lakeshore over the last number of years. So with that $55,000, that puts us almost $17,000 above what the average was for that section of the campground. So I think that really helps to justify making those sites larger, more desirable, and drawing those people in. And hopefully that continues to grow as well, just with some of the future improvements that we would love to do and need to discuss further. But also I think now that the word of mouth hopefully gets out a little bit more too, people see how nice those sites are, and a little bit of a slower start to the season with the cabins as well. It's the first month or so was a little bit on the slower side, but really picked up in July and August. So hopefully start the season off a little stronger again next year now that word of mouth has gotten out. So, fingers crossed that we see those numbers going up for next year as well. So we asked for some suggestions or comments or constructive criticism as well. So if anybody had any concerns. So just a sample of some of the suggestions were brought up. One thing, a number of comments about adding a ceiling fan. Unfortunately, just talking to our electrician about putting that in, that was something we had thought about in advance. But just with the height of the cabins, and then also the fact that there's bunk beds in the cabins as well, just it becomes a safety concern that a ceiling fan wouldn't be a viable option to put in there as a safety concern. Adding a space heater, again, another thing is the safety concern of having a heating device in there. We don't want any cooking devices in that wooden structure, so adding a space heater, kind of a little bit of a safety concern with that one as well. And then again, generally that's kind of something more on the shoulder ends of the season during the main part of the season, not necessarily a big concern. And a handful of people just suggested the mattresses were too firm. We did go with a vinyl mattress just to make sure that it's something that's easy to clean as well. And we don't want something with a cloth top, something that we can wipe down after every use. So I suppose maybe a little bit given up with the comfort of that mattress to make sure that we're able to clean them properly. But I think that's something that we can address on the website too, is we have a bit of a section, same thing with the ceiling fan, we have a section on there is like what to bring. So maybe adding, foam stopper if interested, and bringing a fan, something to consider bringing when you come as well, so. A couple other things, added hooks, so that was something we hadn't added at the beginning of the season, and So after that suggestion came in, we actually did put it in 2 hooks inside just for hanging up towels or jackets, that sort of stuff inside. We may end up adding more because after we added in a couple of hooks in each one, then the comments came in as like more hooks would be great. So we may have to add more, but and then adding shelving space and counter space. So that's something we're looking into a little bit further. We don't have any final solutions on that yet. We're looking at options for shelving or additional table space or something like that. It's something that we're looking into for that as well. But the biggest concern I think we had all season long, which we were, it was unfortunate to see, is the 4 cabins where they're located are kind of between the campsites and the beach area. So we had a lot of complaints of people who were actually walking through the campsites to get down to the beach, which we were hoping that wouldn't be the case if you're on your campsite and people would be respecting the boundaries of other people's campsites, but people would still just walk right through. So we tried to take some mitigation measures this summer with some fencing. So in the picture to the left, you see the 1 2x6 went across there to kind of block off that access there. And then we also picked up made up some temporary signage as well, just to say that no entry, and directing people where the proper beach access is closer to the building there. So that's something we had tackled for this year. And then this off season, we are looking at where the 2 red signs are. There is the potential of a cedar post and 2x6 barrier across there to kind of have that visual barrier in between there, while still not blocking the view of the cabins, what we were trying to avoid by putting that in the first place, but still allowing people to have space to park their vehicles and not disrupting the view down there. So, but yeah, so this slide just kind of gets into some of the specifics of each cabin. With cabin 1 being just 2 persons maximum, and cabin 2 to 4 are 4-person maximum. By the end of the season, things rounded out a little bit better, but definitely we're seeing a trend that cabin 1 was being rented less often with just a 2-person capacity. So that is one thing that we are considering and looking into is purchasing the furniture to make that one into a 4-person capacity as well. There's still the option if you only want to rent it with 2 people, that's still perfectly fine. You know, there's that option for others who might want to have the 4-person capacity. So that is one suggestion we're looking at. But again, it's kind of neat to see is how many nights they were all booked, and all kind of in that, $83,000 to $97,000, or $100 for each cabin. So it's kind of interesting to see that the breakdown of both sides. And then moving forward, a very successful year. So one of the things we have been doing this year as well is we had meters installed by the electrician on the cabins just to monitor how many kilowatt hours were being used throughout the summer. So we've now recently sent that information to our electrician for review and kind of seeing, okay, how much did that draw? And then seeing what else we can do down there as far as the potential of upgrading some 30 amp sites that were discussed before, whether that's something we want to still do moving forward. But then also kind of after hearing his report back is there room for doing still more cabins down the road? Is that something that we want to consider, more discussions to have on that with how successful this was? But at this point, none of that stuff would happen for next year. So next year we do plan to kind of run as status quo, same as this year here, which also gives us that much more data to collect to help make our decisions moving forward for there. So all in all, it was a really great summer at Lake Whitaker, a lot of positive feedback. It really went very well. It was a very exciting project. I'm excited to see what it may lead to in the future as well, but it's been a very fun project. So I've learned a lot through this project. I'm excited about it, and I hope that it all goes well. And if you guys have any questions, I'll be great.
Yeah, I think it was a really great initiative by so congratulations to all the staff, because that was whoever thought of it was a great idea. Any questions? Lori and then Frankie.
Bravo. My first question is twofold. The average day, you didn't point that out. Is it 2 days, 3 days, a week? What is the average day of the persons renting the cottage?
Through you, Madam Chair, Lori. So I would say the vast majority was 2 night stays. So 2 night stays and then 3 night stays for the long weekends. That was the vast majority of them. I think the longest day we had was a handful of 4 or 5 day stays, nothing beyond that, but definitely the 2 to 3 was the vast majority.
And which ones were most popular? A Friday, Saturday night, or a Saturday, Sunday night? And is that in the plan to say that this is the time we offer it? Is Friday, Saturday, or Saturday, Sunday, or is it just hodgepodge?
Again, through you, Madam Chair, Lori, a little bit hodgepodge, yes, but I'd say the vast majority of them was Friday night and Saturday night. that's the majority of the 3 next days are the long weekends that include the Sunday night for the long weekend. That's definitely the vast majority of them. But the nice thing that we did see throughout the summer as well, at this point, is still just the nightly rate, and that's what we offered. There was through the month of July, I think there was one cabin where there was no opportunities to book it for another night because there was only one night in between, so it was actually booked through the week. So that was something we didn't know going into it, if it was going to be very busy on just the weekends. But we definitely seen a lot of usage through the weeks, through the weekdays as well, which was really nice to see as well. So
Thank you. So from a marketing perspective, it's a good idea to keep that data on when people are staying, et cetera. And I do like the idea of the hodgepodge because it allows the flexibility. Downside to that is that it might end up being taxing for the staff to do a quick turnaround and do all the cleanup that is required. So that's just my feedback on that. But congratulations on a very successful year, and again, bravo.
Frank,
Yeah, so I just did some math, about 150 a night is what we're seem to be charging.
145.
145, so no resistance to that, right? People aren't complaining or anything?
No, again, through you, Madam Chair, Frank, yeah, so a few comments earlier on in the season about that, and then a few comments through the season, but I'd say the vast majority, a handful of minor comments, but nothing that was holding people back, I think.
So if I recall, drainage was an issue here, but it was a dry summer too, but you put drainage measures in.
Yeah.
I don't know, what are they plugging into the electrical? They bring their own toaster, they don't bring their own space here, right?
No, so again, through you, Madam Chair, to Frank, so to start off with, yes, we addressed the drainage and it definitely made huge improvements down there. We are seeing the washouts that we had. We had one event this summer where we had almost an inch of rain in under a half an hour. That kind of exceeded the drainage issues or measures we had in place for that. But that was just a one single event, but that was kind of an unusual one for that one in that short period of time. But generally, yes, the drainage is working well down through there. Pardon me, the second part of the question.
Well,
electrical. Yeah, so I don't really know that that's not necessarily something that we're tracking is what people are using. We're tracking the usage as far as kilowatt hours through the meters, but not really seeing anything, just comments from people saying, oh yeah, we loved it because we did add an outdoor outlet to the site of the campsite as well to make sure that they're able to plug in there without having to run extension cords inside. And that was one comment or positive feedback we got as well, that I'd really like to have, so they could have that outlet outside so they could use their toaster, their coffee maker, and still use that outside. As far as if anybody's bringing a space heater, we don't go into the cabins at all once they rented it. So I can't speak to whether people are doing that or not. They're not supposed to, but whether they are,
I got you. Okay, anyway, well done. Looks like it's a success. And what are we maybe thinking about? We're gonna take a pause for a year and maybe look at adding. Yeah, okay.
Jim,
Up through the chair. Obviously, congratulations on your inaugural season. My question is, how does the booking process work? Do you start at January first come, first served? The people who are in it now say, I want to come back next year. Can they book it when they leave? Is it a lottery? All of a sudden you got 50 people want the same weekend? How's it all work, the booking system?
Yeah, so through Madam Chair to Jim. So good question. Our reservation system is the same as what our reservation system is for the rest of the campgrounds as well, as far as booking the campsite. So our reservation system will go live on March 1st. Every year, so that's when you can start booking campsites, and that's when you're able to start booking the cabins as well. This year there was a little delay. We didn't start the cabin until April 1st, just because we were still working out some kinks being the first season. But this year we had imagined that March 1st, once the reservation system goes live, anybody can come in and book whatever stays they want to stay. And it's just at that point, it's done for certain. Once the system goes live, you can start making reservations for the entire site.
Does your system tell you that 20 people wanted to book for Friday and yet only one got it? The first one got it. Does it tell you how many people are trying to get in on a weekend?
I don't believe that information is something.
Because I'm just curious, because if it takes off, you might have a lot of people on the same weekend and it opens March 1st. So anyway, that's go on, later on, have a look at it if it's a major problem for 50 people on the same weekend.
I guess one thing for you, Madam Chair, to Jim, is while the system isn't tracked that, I think there's a lot of phone calls. Hey, I'd like to book for this weekend. Also, we're already booked.
Yeah, okay.
So while it's not necessarily something it's tracked, but it is a phone call.
How popular it would be.
But no stats to give how much it is.
Thank you.
thank you for your report, Michael. That was a good one. If there are no other, JJ, sorry.
Yeah, through the chair. I know we have the numbers, but if I could just be reminded, what was the cost per cabin to put them in?
Thank you, through you, Madam Chair, to JJ. So the cost of the cabins themselves was $18,000. That included the cabin, the furniture inside, and the delivery. And then the additional of the mattresses, the running the electrical, as well as the eaves troughs and all those extra types of works, probably puts us in close to the $25,000 range, roughly. I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but roughly $25,000 per cabin with all the extra amenities as well.
Okay, that's great. We're recovering in a few years. We recover the cost. That's amazing. I guess that's it. I'm good. Thank you.
Thanks, JJ. Lori, did you have another?
Just as a follow-up to JJ's question, could Elizabeth again enlighten us as where the capital came from for this project?
The chair to Lori, the capital was a donation from a neighbor. Mr. Sam Bennett gave $200,000. And it was decided at that time that this was a great initiative because that donation would keep giving back to the campground moving forward rather than just having spent it and move on. So there's still some of those capital funds left, but as Mike said, we want to take a breather year, look at those electrical reports from the cabins, and make a well-informed decision about where we put the next cabins or what the next initiative we do down there.
Okay.
John got his hand up,
John,
yeah.
yes.
Through you, Chair. My wife, basically, my wife tried booking stuff a few times because her family couldn't really make up their mind when they wanted to come and whatnot. There's no single night bookings, even if there's only one night available. There could be some gaps filled. I understand you probably don't want to be cleaning the thing every day with single night rentals, but you're not able to rent for a single night when that's all that's available either. So just wanted to let you know that, or I'm not sure if you're aware of that or whether that's sort of by design, but that was an issue that my wife came across anyway. Thanks.
And thank you, Madam Chair, through you to John. Yeah, that was something that was decided in advance and was, I suppose we would say by design, we were looking to do that 2-night minimum. But it may be a very valid suggestion and maybe something for further discussion if that's something that we want to consider moving forward is that's how we chose to operate it for this year. But good feedback and maybe something for further discussions or opportunities to consider.
Through the chair on that, I'm going to assume check-in time is at 3, out the next day at 11, so you don't have much of a window to check in and enjoy that. You're packing up, going out the next day at 8. So your 2-day minimum is probably a good suggestion. So.
Anything else before we call for the vote? Nothing? Okay. So the recommendation is that the Lakeshore Camping Area Improvement Update be received. A mover and a seconder, please. Moved by John and seconded by JJ. All in favor? Oh, sorry.
Baldwin Sands,
Yes.
Burrs,
Yes.
Yes.
Herbert,
Yes.
Tribble,
Good try.
Yes.
Strybosh,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
McMillan.
Yes.
And that motion passes.
Okay. All right, we move on to the 2025 capital budget update. We'll ask Elizabeth to present.
Sure. So Rob Lindsay, the coordinator at Dalewood, has been putting basically a plan together. We noticed this year specifically at Dalewood that the revenue seemed to plateau at Dalewood. And we've been getting a lot of calls regarding construction workers in the area looking for some long-term stays. We've been reaching out to the campground as well. One of the issues is that we've kind of plateaued as well at Dalewood for 30 AMP sites. And so Rob took the initiative to kind of take a look at what's out there and see if there is anything to do. So this is tied up with basically 2 main things regarding the 2025 capital budget. The first is that we had $35,000 in the capital budget to direct to a storage solution at Dalewood. So the shop over there is circa 1975. It was certainly envisioned not knowing how many electric vehicles we would have, the storage capacity that we need now. So Rob's running out of space there. But when we got started looking at revenue generating and then that storage issue, we really looked at whether or not there was enough hydro at the shop to withstand any bigger dock area or construction. So we did a hydro audit over there and discovered that we can get hydro to the shop, but it's going to require rerouting through several campsites. As part of that audit, we looked at all the electrical at the campground and discovered that we had the opportunity with a little bit of investment to get some new 30-amp sites at the campground as well. So the proposal that we're bringing you today is that instead of spending the $45,000 on a storage facility at Dalewood, we think we've come up with a plan where we can redirect those funds this year to generate revenue next year and basically delay the storage solution at Dalewood until we have the proper hydro routed over to the shop area. So it's basically redirecting some of our capital funds for better use this season. So with an investment of about $65,000, we can establish 13 new 30 sites at Dalewood. And this can be accomplished with only about a $9,500 budget variance, simply by delaying that storage solution at Lake Whitaker or storage solution at Dalewood and a roof upgrade at Lake Whitaker, and basically pushing those back a year. The roof at Lake Whitaker is, it's not leaking. It's not, a safety issue or concern right now. So we feel confident we can delay it until the 2026 budget. The new sites that we're going to present today can generate $30,000 to $40,000 per year and provides for a better revenue stream for Dalewood. And I believe a better return on our capital funds at this time. Next slide. So basically, the design that we came up with, this is the main section of the campground. You can see the yellow represents 30-amp sites. It's the major 30-amp site of the area. We had a seasonal camper leave site 144, which on this map is 144A, right up here. And that's when we discovered we had hydro available there to basically service another 5 sites. So we're adding 4 new sites there. And then this area down here, the south end of the campground, these 2 sites here have traditionally been group camping sites. So groups would come and tie into one electrical hub. They have not generated a lot of revenue for us, especially in the last 10 years. We're only looking at this past year, I think it was about $1,000, $1,400 that's coming in off of those sites. And so Rob, talking with the electrician, has come up with basically 8 sites down there. I think they'd be very attractive. We went up and looked at them, staked them out. They're nice, big sites, and we would be proposing, again, you can put in 30-amp service there. And that these would be more like a long-term type stay sites. And then the next slide. So we still want to help Rob with the storage issues at Dalewood. This building, so washroom back here is we call them a visitor services center. That's what's historically been called. It's kind of a roofed in pavilion. Again, that has generated very little revenue for us over the last 10 years. It's basically a trend that we've seen. Last year, it was about $700 in rentals, and normally tied in with, say, some of those group camping They'll come in as a group and then want a roofed area for dining. So our proposal is basically to knock in a driveway back from here to that site, giving better access to the staff to use that facility as a temporary storage until we come up with a more permanent solution. And we believe that we can accomplish all of this in that $6,500 budget, get it done this fall so that those campsites are ready to go for booking as of March 1st and next year, with the ability to increase Dalewood's revenue potential.
All right, thank you, Elizabeth. Any questions from the board? Lori?
I was very excited when I saw this, and I'll tell you why. And last month when I was in Jasper, seeing all of the residents that have had to move into trailers, and they are there on a very permanent basis. We have our own type of situation here locally, where we are a stone's throw away from the mega site. And there is going to be some long-term construction work that's going to be done, excuse me, over a very long period of time, and this is of that benefit. But my concern is, especially with the ones to the south, is there any possibility we can make them a 12-month operation as opposed to just seasonal? No? Okay. Well, that was my feedback from that, is to see what has had to be done at Jasper, where they've had to do people living in those longer trailers. And they're all workers on what's happening, not just in the city, but in the park. That's how they've been accommodating the workers that need to be there on a daily site. So with that mega project happening for the next number of years, over 12 months, I could see that being a really tight development that could happen for us and for us to materialize. And benefit from what is happening, just conceptual road over. I'm excited about this project. I fully need support.
Anyone else with a comment or a question?
Okay.
Okay.
And we go to the recommendation.
Yeah. So the recommendation is that the 2025 capital budget allocations be redirected to complete hydro upgrades at Dalewood Conservation Area as outlined in the staff report to an upset limit of $65,000. Mover in a second, moved by Jim and seconded by Frank.
Baldwin Sands.
Yes.
Burrs.
Yes.
Herbert.
Yes.
Cribble.
Yes.
Drybosh.
Yes.
Yes.
Wilson
Yes.
and McMillan.
Yes.
And that motion passes.
Okay. And once again to Elizabeth for the 2026 draft budget.
So I just wanted to give a brief overview. I did put in the 2024-2027 strategic work plan that we had developed when we developed our 4-year budget, just to remind everyone of basically our targets over that time period. The regulation mapping update is underway and is hopefully on track to be completed by the end of 2025. We might do the public consultation over 2025, 2026, but I'm pleased with that project and the status it is right now. Floodplain mapping updates was a key target in this 4-year plan, and we continue to work through that. The additional flood forecasting cameras, those are complete and in. The flood model, Jen is continuing to work with different agencies on a open source model that continues to prove itself. So I'm pleased with that progress as well. As mentioned, we're keeping to that 45,000 plus trees per year and moving through a number of conservation area capital improvements that is only enhancing our ability to self-generate funds. And I think in this next 2-year period, we can enhance our public profile and engagement. So as we've discussed before, we've gone through 2 years of 7.5. In the last 2 years, the target was 4%. And that's what I've been building the draft budget on for this year as well. Next slide. Cost containment measures to really keep that 4% and not allow it to increase past our targets. Our compensation and benefit increase right now is coming in at 5%. We're supporting 55% of our staff wages with self-generated revenues. I think that speaks to the ability of Mike and Rob and their teams to really generate those revenues out in the campgrounds. This draft budget has a drawdown of reserves of roughly 158,000. So we continue to basically balance the regeneration of those reserves with campground revenues and long-term planning to really keep that municipal levy down. The operating expenses, I'm right on target, and looking at each line item to try to keep it at 0 to 2.5%. And at the November meeting, we'll be bringing back to you a wholesome report on any fee increases that we think are relevant. So you'll have your ability to sink your teeth into that as well. So as I reported earlier in the year, 4% I think is the best that I can do. It represents a $50,000 increase over 2025 apportionment. And if we just go to the next slide. So with that in 2026, we'll be looking at that regulation mapping consultation. We want to tackle planning and regulations, policies and procedures. So there's been a lot of legislative updates. And I want to bring our policies and procedures up to par with that. There'll be consultation involved in that. And then continuing through those floodplain mapping updates. Those will be the key deliverables for 2026, but always those status quo deliverables as well, the planting the trees, capital improvements. Next slide. So your apportionment, what does this mean to your individual member municipalities? The draft apportionment with the updated CVA was included in the advanced packages, but you can see how that 4% increase will affect your specific member municipalities. So the next stage of the draft budget development is we continue to refine it internally. We'll be looking at our fees next and bringing that report to you at the November meeting with a complete draft budget that you'll be able to see all the numbers, the impact for the reserves. And that will be presented at the November meeting with the hopes to get your approval to send it out for a public consultation at that time.
Okay, Elizabeth, thanks. Any discussion? Okay, and we're not receiving this for information.
We just have a receipt for information. Yeah.
Okay, so the recommendation is that the report be received for information. A mover and a seconder. Okay, Lori and
I'll second it.
okay, Jim.
Baldwin Sands.
Yes.
Burrs.
Yes.
Herbert.
Yes.
Pribble.
Yes.
Strybosh.
Yes.
Wilson.
Yes.
McMillan.
Yes.
And that motion passes.
Okay, move on to the October Planning and Regulations report from Maisa.
I guess it's not to be the report.
I think we saw it.
Yeah, oh, okay. Any questions? Been a bit busier than spring, summer, but.
Any issues?
No.
Didn't see any.
Let's see.
That was nice.
Okay, all right, if there's nothing that, the recommendation is that the October 2025 Planning and Regulations Activity Report be received. Mover and seconder. Moved by Jim and seconded by JJ. The vote.
Baldwin Sands.
Yes.
Burrs.
Yes.
Herbert.
Yes.
McMillan.
Yes.
Strybosh.
Yes.
Pribble.
Yes.
Wilson.
Yes.
And that motion passes.
Okay. Are we moving into close?
Yes.
Right. So a recommendation to move into closed session at 11:01 or
Yeah, sorry, Madam Chair, I will mention, I do need to add one other property matter to the closed agenda.
Okay. All right.
So everyone is aware before we go in.
All right.
But a motion to go in at 11:01.
Mhm.
Is there a mover and a seconder?
A mover into.
All moved.
And Jim and Frank.
Baldwin Sands,
Yes.
Burrs,
Yes.
Yes.
Herbert,
Yes.
Cribble,
Yes.
Drybush,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
and McMillan.
Yes.
And that motion passes.
Okay.